My wife and I got home from a trip to Beaver Island on Sunday, and I got a chance to go up in the barn and view some of the activity behind the barn. And as soon as I got up there, about an hour before dark, I could see brown bodies moving around. There were a group of bucks back in the southeast corner milling around. There were 4 or 5 of them, and there was a doe family moving in. You can see them up in the upper left corner there, and this piques the interest of this buck that's closest to us, and he turns and starts to walk towards them. Over to my right, I see a doe family is moving across my neighbor's hayfield, and they typically move across it fairly quickly because they want to get over into the heavier cover and better food on my property. This is a doe and her triplets, and here they come scampering across into the heavy cover. Back over here in the corner, there's a little chasing around going on, and Mom has left, and you can see this fawn running along here trying to catch up with her. And right down here to the lower left, you can see Mom has decided she doesn't like all those bucks, and she's coming into a brassica field. Now this really points up the importance of this compartmentalization we do. Here's that other group. They've gotten into another little brassica plot. And we're back over to the mom, and she's got 2 fawns in here now. You saw them scampering to catch up with her, and now the bucks are left back there alone going, what the heck went on? This partitioning is fantastic. These bucks cannot see her from over there. She feels more secure being away from them. You can see up front there is my sorghum, and right behind it is my row of apple trees. Those both make good blockades and cover. It's so critically important to have these different isolated little plots. We now have several doe families out in here, and they're all isolated from each other. If a buck shows up, they can get away from them and go hide in another one of these little cubby holes. Now this group over to the right has decided to move. I think they may have sensed or seen a buck. My neighbor told me yesterday that evening a big buck had come out in his field, and I think that might be why these guys are running over here. But I'm so caught up in watching what's going on back here that I didn't notice him over there. So now we have 2 doe groups. Now the front one closest to us is aware of what's going on, that some deer have just been run over there. But watch where she looks. She's not interested in them. She knows this buck is coming through, and he's on his way on her trail, and she's kind of paying attention off to the left there. And she flicks her tail, which means she's comfortable, but you can see a new deer coming in clear at the back corner there. And our buck that is going to follow this girl has disappeared, and he's going to come out right to the left there shortly. Here he is. He's coming out now. Now in the meantime, they've moved. She heard him coming, doesn't want to be near him. They've moved up through those apple trees into that little food plot. Now he's in the middle plot, no girls around. What the heck's going on? They've already moved between that sorghum and those apple trees, and they're feeding in there. He doesn't know they're there. You can see another doe family coming in way up to the upper left up there. And this guy's going to feed around in here for a few minutes. He's wondering, where are you girls? Well, it's pretty simple what happened. While he was working his way from this food plot through here, she heard him, and she took her young ones and came around here and went between the sorghum and these apple trees. And once he came down in here, she was gone already. So this is how these deer are using this compartmentalization to socially separate each other. This doe does not want to hang around. The bucks harass and bother her fawns, and they bother her too. She doesn't want to be around them. So now she's feeding in behind here. He's wondering what happened to her. And the next thing I see is they come out here. Well, now they're right in the yard. They're in this yard food plot. And he follows behind them over here. And in the meantime, they've walked along here like this. and they circle back in right into where they want to feed. So they're now over in here, and they can continue to work their way around as he follows them. In the meantime, he shows up over here and spends his time on a mineral lick that's right here. Now in Michigan, we're allowed to have minerals within 100 yards of our house for viewing, and this provides great opportunity for my wife and I to watch the deer come up in here. And that's what he did. In the meantime, a doe came and she stood right up here on top of this mound for about 10 minutes. Now, it was too dark for me to video all this, but it was really enjoyable, especially watching that last few minutes of activity when that doe came up into here and used the hedgerow and the sorghum to circle around, and that buck followed right on her track but never could see her that whole time. Ended up here licking on a mineral rock for a while another doe stood up here. It was really fascinating to watch that. The secret to getting all this different activity, we had 3 different doe families at different times of the evening that were using this area here. Another doe family over here, and then they ended up here. We had the movement of this doe and her fawns all the way up through here. All this activity going on, and we couldn't even see this area. Who knows what was going on over there? And the secret to all this is compartmentalization. These does do not want to be around the bucks. The bucks harass their fawns. They probably don't smell very good. The does just don't like to be around them. 2 days a year, the does will tolerate a buck, and that's when they're in estrus. The other 363, they want to be somewhere where the bucks aren't. This compartmentalized area with heavy cover allows the doe groups to use it. They can get their food and nourishment. They can be up on their feet in daytime because they feel safe here. And they're able to move around and keep out of sight of these bucks and have some location to themselves without having to compete with the other doe groups. This is the secret to success on small properties. This is only an 8-acre area here, but I had at least 4 doe groups and at least 4 bucks in here that night. What a pleasure it is to be able to sit there in my barn and view all this activity going on. I hope you enjoyed watching the deer out my back window as much as I did.